Good evening. I want to welcome everyone here tonight. Thank you all for coming out and being part of this community conversation. I know that there's an NCAA championship game on tonight. We would have chose another night, but we knew UVA was playing, so as a Virginia Tech guy, it's not too much concern over that. That's right, go Hokies, that's right. But we're about 3 ways away from one of the most important, exciting, and transformative festivals our city has ever seen. As exciting as it is, there are thousands of details, and I know millions of questions. Handling major events and massive crowds is nothing new for Virginia Beach. But this event is new. And for the first year of anything like this here in our community. That is something in itself to be proud of. As plans continue to evolve, there will be growing pains. You have to think, on a normal scale and the size of this event takes 18 to 24 months to put in place. We have world-class staff here, promoters here, who do this all around the world, who are putting together this event in 5 months. We'll be answering everything from questions from transportation, access to safety, and traffic. That's why we put this briefing together, to give you the latest information and provide an opportunity to answer any questions you may have. I think the key word tonight, and I know we will be continuously preach this coming up this event weekend, is patience. We want to give you all the most accurate answers that we can, but we continuously ask for patience. So let me tell you about the format tonight, and then I'll turn things over to our first presenter. As you can see by the agenda, we have representatives from Something in the Water Festival, city staff, and the Human Rights Commission, who have been intensively collaborating on all of the planning so this weekend is a success. And when I tell you intensively, I mean 24-hour, around-the-clock preparation to making sure this event is as safe and successful and as efficient as it can be. We're having you write your questions on cards, so if you haven't had a chance to write your questions on note cards, there still may be an opportunity. Just see either Aaron or Drew over there, right here. Sorry about that. And both here, so you get a chance to write your questions on there. We will concentrate on the issues that apply most to the people in groups. So if you have a specific issue, I myself, as well as Brian Solis, will be happy to answer your questions after tonight's program. However, we know that some of you might have personal circumstances that you want to discuss, and we can discuss those tonight after the meeting with you. Our first presenter is the director of the festival, Emily O'Caden, who will provide an overview of a 3-day event, and then we'll get into the specific logistics for locals like transportation, parking, access, and traffic management. Now, let's understand exactly what this festival is. This festival is to showcase the beauty and talent, not only of Virginia Beach, but of Virginia. This festival is to celebrate the diversity and inclusion not only our city, but our state has to offer. Again, keep in mind, this is a first-year event. And by comparison, South by Southwest, which is in Austin, Texas, when they started out, they had 700 people to attend. They have 20 years of experience to get to a revenue of $1 billion a year. This is the first year of our event, and we are fortunate to have a world-class artist such as Pharrell Williams invest in our community. So with that being said, I'm going to bring up Emily O'Caden, and she will give you an overview of this 3-day event. Thank you.
Good evening, Virginia Beach. I moved into your lovely city this morning, and I will be here for the next 4 weeks. So if you see me in the street, you can say hi. Be nice. I'm sure most of you know the general information about the festival, but I will give you a recap to fill you all in. No surprises. Everyone was very excited for the show, and we went on sale with the 3 days, the April 26 to April 28 weekend, and we sold out almost immediately at 35,000 tickets. So hopefully that includes all of you, but we are a sold-out festival. The main music festival footprint is located between 10th and 5th Street. From 5th Street down to Rudy Loop will be closed off. That is where we have a lot of our offices and back of house areas, but our essential major festival footprint area is this. So our main entrance is on 10th Street. To come in through our entrance, you must have a wristband. To all the people that have purchased tickets, the wristbands are going out via fulfillment from front gate. If you don't receive your wristband in the mail prior to arrival, our box office is located here at the Convention Center. Box office is open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of show weekend. And it opens at 11 a.m. on Wednesday till 7 p.m., 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. on Thursday, 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. on Friday, 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. on Saturday, and 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. on Sunday. Bear in mind that is if you have purchased a ticket. Tickets are no longer on sale. So once you have your ticket, you can come through the 10th Street entrance, which is on the beachfront, unlike your shows previously, which have been in the side streets. We will be accepting all guests down the front of the stand. You can't miss our front entrance because we have an incredible artwork coming here currently on a shipping container from Taiwan that is 86 feet tall and 120 feet wide. Sitting at our very front entrance, you can see it on the map, it's called Cause. So we'll be really easy to find. The general festival entrance also has a secondary entrance on 5th Street for both VIP and ADA entrance. If you have a VIP ticket or you need ADA entry and you can't get down to 5th Street, it's fine. We also have VIP and ADA entrance at the main entrance. The VIP viewing pit for all the VIP ticket holders is on the left-hand side. You can see it down there at 5th Street in front of Waterman's, which I'm sure everybody knows. And then we have all different activations happening within the festival footprint during the day from our presenting sponsor partners, such as Uber Eats, Verizon, Red. We have art activations from Friends With You, another incredible artist from Asia. So this is where all the fun will be happening on the music side. The music festival happens on Friday from 2 p.m. until 11 p.m., on Saturday from noon till 11 p.m., and on Sunday from noon until 10:30. There's been a lot of people asking for who is performing. We will announce on the 14th. So as of the 14th, you can go on our website and on our app, and the lineup and the order of who is playing will be presented so you can work out your day of music. Outside of the venue footprint, this is our city footprint. So I know a lot of people have been very curious to get further information on all the other activations and what we're presenting to you as a community. So I will give you a rundown of some of the other activations that are happening around town. Here at the Convention Center, on both Friday and Saturday, we have conversations and panels pieces being presented by multiple partners. They range from Cox to ODU, Shark Tank, and FOTA. We have late night programming here at the Convention Center on Saturday night only, called Trap Karaoke. Registration for Trap Karaoke will be online. It is separate to the festival ticket, and it will be registration for a week prior to show. We have, do I have a laser pointer, Julie? I think I might need one. Thank you. I'll run you through them, but when I get a laser pointer, I can point them out a little bit closer for you. Adidas is activating at 24th Beach Stage. They're activating on Friday and Saturday only, from 11 a.m. till 7 a.m. Anyone with a festival ticket can attend the Adidas activations. You can also go online and register through the Adidas website and the Something in the Water website. Again, it will be a week before show for registration. You must have registered or have a festival ticket to attend. They have a multiple amount of activations happening, including dance classes. There's a basketball court. They're doing mentor circles. They have Adidas slides, which you can brand and recreate yourselves. At 31st Street on Friday evening from 7 p.m. till 11 p.m., we have the Netflix and Array film screening. On the corner of, let's pull up my whole list so I don't forget any of these activations because there are so many. On the corner of 19th and Pacific, thank you, we have the Sony activation, which will be super hard to miss because it's a beautiful big dome. Maybe got in.
Keep going.
Oh.
Does it work without it?
It's fine. I'll just use my hands. The 17th Street Beach Stage, we have XQ Super School Bus Live and the activating, which is for some of the younger children. Another activation for the younger kids in the area will be Super Heroic, which is happening on Friday at SITW Elementary. At SITW Elementary, we also have the community garden that Virginia Natural Gas has been so awesome to support and provide. We have art masterclasses at Mocha. What have I missed? The pop-up church between 19th and 23rd Street on the beach from noon Sunday until 8 p.m. It's not gonna go? Okay, no problem. So as you can see, looking at the festival map, we are taking over large parts of your city. We're very, very excited to be here and to be presenting this to you. I know a lot of your questions about this are gonna be about how you get to those activations, how these activations may affect you if you live around them. The team that's gonna follow me, including the chief and Rory Parsons, our festival coordinator, will talk through these processes for you. We have more information going up on our website, and you can always check in there. And then we do have a page of email addresses on the website that if you haven't seen them, please go to somethinginthewater.com. We have a community line, an information line, and a vendors line available. It's been up there for you. And if you have any queries about those, you can come and see me at the end of the night and I can fill you in. But otherwise, I'm gonna hand over to the team.
Chief, you left me up here all by myself. Any case, I'm Brian Solis. I'm assistant to the city manager for special projects. What I just want to tell you just for a moment is how the planning process for this festival has been a little bit different than some of our other special events. And the reason for that primarily is because of the compressed time frame that we had to work within. And also the kind of how comprehensive and how large of a footprint that this festival has versus maybe some of our other special events. So I say that, but then there's a lot of similarities to the special events that we coordinate throughout the year. Some extraordinary special events that we all enjoy. It's just you would combine several of them to get to the footprint that Emily just described. So in order to accomplish getting this festival permitted as expeditiously as possible and also while not missing anything, we've created a series of work groups to pour over the information face to face and many times over and work through issues together. And the way that the framework that we had for that was into these four major categories on your left, and that is with regard to safety and security, transportation or traffic control plans, and for each of these folks are going to walk through this for you and also answer your questions with respect to these. Facility support. So what that means is, just like with other events that go on throughout not only the resort, but the city, there are certain facility support and expertise that we provide. And in this case, it's where is electrical, where are franchise utilities, where is water available, and where they are not, the festival are to provide them themselves and augment them with whether it be generators of various sizes, various types of water, potable and otherwise, restrooms or comfort stations, and we kind of work hand in hand, primarily in our public works department, and they know the beach like no other. I would like to thank them and everybody involved in the planning process so far. Everything from what width of the beach can we expect to have, whether it be in the pop-up church area from 19th Street to 23rd Street, or the 4th Street to 10th Street area for the main stage. And trust me when I tell you, there has been a lot of analysis into that. There have been soil borings or it's sand borings about what the profile is and what stage can be supported and where. And there's also been an effort to try to project and try to affect what the width will be come game day, and that's April 26th. And then communications. I'd like to thank Julie Hill, who's the city's communications director. Pharrell Williams is a publicist up in New York City. The public information officers from all of the different supporting departments, EMS, fire, police, and public works. Emily herself has been on the communications team, and making sure that there's nothing missed in that regard to the program development for the festival. And that's how we have gotten to this point to really be able to put things in place to start loading in August 17th on the pier itself, on the beach itself in the 5th Street area. So in terms of management, and there'll be a little bit more talking about this during safety and security talk by the chief, but we kind of have a four-prong approach to managing the event. The Emergency Operations Center is open to basically they have the best eyes on the city and particularly the resort area, and they're outside of the festival footprint, which is where an Emergency Operations Center should be. So this is your resource that is open during inclement weather events in particular. But what we've learned from South by Southwest and the city of Austin, who really have this down pat, is actually it is their Emergency Operations Center that runs the event for South by Southwest. They have all the right folks there, all the public safety departments, code enforcement, transportation, and they call it their event management center during that a week leading up to the 9 days of their festival, and then tapering down afterwards. And we're emulating that by operating our EOC, and Aaron Sutton, the Director of Emergency Management, is here as well if you have any questions about that piece. So the second piece is one that is open throughout the last 5 or 6 College Beach weekends. It's our Operations Command Centers, and that is generally in the 2nd Precinct area where you know where your public safety departments are located for the resort area. That's where they will be. But we have some redundancies in place with regard to Something in the Water Festival. Team members will be there side by side with our public safety folks and other folks in the command center. And then the Joint Information Center, that's basically folks that are with the Convention and Visitors Bureau and other departments that are there to answer questions that come in specifically with regard to the festival. The Something in the Water, something that's not listed here, but Something in the Water, I guess the branch that they'll be operating the festival will be located in the Rudy Loop area. So that is their main hub of managing the entire festival for everything that they have purview over. And we will have city staff represented from public safety departments that will be present within their branch of managing the festival. And lastly, the Traffic Management Center will be available. And if you don't know what that is or where it is off Dam Neck Road, where you see those kind of one-story public utilities and public works buildings, Dam Neck Road and Rosemont Road. And within that, there is a set of a large wall of screens and other technology that has all the eyes on all the intersections that have the cameras in the city. They can also adjust traffic signals as needed from there based on what they are seeing and what they are hearing from the field. So there's kind of a multi-pronged four-piece approach to managing the center from a lot of different ways. So with that, I'm going to kind of pass it on back to Councilmember Rouse to introduce the next speaker, and I'll stand by for any questions you might have.
All right, we're keeping it going, Everyone is still excited, right? Yeah, okay, we're gonna get to those questions in just a bit. I can hear everyone's minds working right now, so we're gonna get there in just a moment. The next person I'd like to introduce is Roy Parsons. He's the festival coordinator, and he's here to give you somewhat of an overview, as well as transportation and traffic management, as well as our police chief, Jim Tavera. So please welcome them on stage right now.
Hi everyone, this is absolutely incredible. I don't think we've had this level of engagement and support before from a local community, so this is really fantastic. It's great to see. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. Obviously, there are some questions that are going to happen straight after this. There's some really unique challenges here with the City of Virginia Beach with regards to doing an event this size, and we have confidence in our preparation and in our planning. This has been a collaborative process for many, many months with all the right agencies. And you guys are incredibly lucky. You've got an incredible support system here with regards to the city agencies that we've been working with, the infrastructure that's already in place. So it really gave us a head start in terms of the planning and the execution of this thing. So we're excited. We're going into this excited. I did want to give you guys a quick overview of what we have programmed here. Be the next slide. So a couple of the entities that we've been working with, obviously there's a lot of different factors here that we've been looking at, but ultimately we spent hours and hours and hours, hundreds of hours looking at maps and looking at the roadways around this area and looking at the previous event data that has been available to us, and obviously working with the cities, whether it's Virginia Beach PD, the City of Virginia Beach, Public Works, all these other great entities that you guys have here. And we programmed something around the unique challenges associated with this area. Obviously, parking is going to be extremely limited in the resorts area, and that's something that we knew coming in, and it's only become more and more apparent. So a lot of our messaging, a lot of our planning has been around how do we bridge the gap here in terms of how many people are coming and the parking that's going to be available and the potential congestion issues related to that. So we've worked on a regional shuttle program with a company called Fest Drive. Fest Drive are one of the biggest companies in the US when it comes to large-scale event operations and logistics with shuttles. Their sister company, Bus Bank, as well. These guys have done the biggest shows in the country, but also the biggest sporting events, the Super Bowl, Coachella on the music side. They've also been very instrumental on some of the emergency operations at Hurricane Katrina and some other entities there. So we're excited to be working with them. And we know where a lot of our attendees are going to be coming from, based off of the ticketing information and the general response that we've had. So we've programmed certain cities that we're going to be running shuttle programs from, based off of where we know our folks are going to be coming from. And that includes Chesapeake, it's Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, just to cover the local areas. But also, we have a lot of attendees that are coming in from out of town, including Durham, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., Baltimore. So we're confident we're going to be able to pull a lot of those folks out of those smaller ridership vehicles and get them into big shuttles. And those shuttles are able to reduce traffic. So we're excited about that program. The second note on there, you see the park and ride shuttles. So we've been working very, very closely on the best available options for this. We are expecting a lot of people to want to shuttle into the area. And there are only so many big, large format lots in the area that can accommodate the sort of volume that we're looking at. We have been working with the Dam Neck Station lot. That's right there on Dam Neck and General Booth. However, obviously with that being a grass property, we have had a wet weather contingency plan for quite some time now. And that's the Live Nation, it's the amphitheater, the Veteran Home Loans United Amphitheater. So just move on very slightly here to keep this thing moving. We also have the HRT Wave Trolleys. It's a continuous service from 8 a.m. until 2 a.m., and that's April 26th, 7th, and 28th. That's your best opportunity to just get around that resorts area, get up and down Atlantic, get out to the convention center, and then also down to the main music venue. So absolutely incredible, again, that you guys already have that infrastructure in place in town, and we're excited that's already been brought to the table. We also, in this day and age, ride shares are a huge part of this puzzle. Uber and Lyft are obviously the two biggest entities, but there are a lot of other companies that are involved. Taxis, we've been very active with the taxis that are in town, and there'll also be some parent drop-off and pickup. We know that there'll be parents and friends that want to drop off attendees to our show, and we've made accommodations as such. We've worked very, very closely with Uber as our partner, but also with Lyft, and that's handling the rider communication, the driver communication. We've got some technology applications that we're excited about. We're also going to provide a designated drop-off and pickup area that is currently up on the website, but we're also looking to expand on that, and there will be some more updates to come. Ultimately, the best case scenario for us here is that as many people as possible are willing to ride in on their bikes and get around town on their bikes. We are encouraging that. Thankfully, Virginia Beach, it seems like a lot of you guys are very comfortable on your bikes and getting around the area. It's a great way to get around the area. But ultimately, if someone is lucky enough to be able to find parking in the area, which is going to be extremely limited, park once. Don't get back in your car and look to drive around the area. It's a beautiful area to walk around. It's a beautiful area to bike around. You've always got the VB Wave Trolley, which we're actively marketing through our website currently. Another message that we're just very, very keen to get out there, and this does really make a difference, although it might not seem like it does. If you do get in a vehicle, please carpool. The less vehicles on the road, the less traffic we'll see. So if you can travel in with 3 people as opposed to just the 2 of you, that makes a huge difference for everyone. So that covers the elements of the transportation program that we've brought into effect. Obviously, it's a very robust program. We've been working on it for a very long time here. We install these programs all across the country at large-scale events. Confidence in preparation and planning. Obviously, it's a unique challenge here in Virginia Beach, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to, not only program this the right way, but then improve upon it day after day, year after year. So I know that a lot of you folks are here. This is obviously a hot-button topic, and it is definitely a hot-button topic for us too. The employee and resident access to the impacted areas. And Chief Severa will highlight some of this, but ultimately, Atlantic Avenue from Rudy Loop to 10th Street, we've got a couple of different zones there that we're going to be looking to credential those vehicles, which is a priority for us. We will be looking to circulate maps with finalized routes and bullet point directions for all of those entities. And that will be coming, we don't want to put that out until it's absolutely final. So 1 week prior to the show. And during the week of show, we'll also have some vehicle passes that we'll look to distribute that will facilitate access to very certain businesses that are highly impacted by our immediate festival footprint. So you can see obviously Zone 1 and Zone 2 on there, Rudy Loop, and 5th Street to 10th Street. So at this point, I'm going to hand it off to Chief Severa.
Which button is it for?
It's just this one.
Okay. Good evening. All right, this isn't a funeral. Good evening, everybody. A couple of things that I want to get out first before we get real deep into traffic. Will be very interesting during this weekend. But we've been doing this for decades. You know what it's like on 4th of July? On 4th of July, if you live anywhere in the Beach Borough, the North End, Shadow Lawn, and some of the areas that abut to it, if you leave at 2 in the afternoon and want to come home at 9 at night, it's not happening. So we have that same effect that's going to happen on this particular weekend, except traffic will probably be a little heavier than it is even on a normal 4th of July weekend. And so we're trying to prepare for all that. I've said, and we have some issues that we're going to do on our traffic plan, but I do want you to know that eventually it will boil down to a topic of physics, and that is you can only put so much mass in any given area, and you can only move it so quick. So there will be a time when this traffic is going to get extremely congested, and we're going to have to take other measures as we plan for the evening, and we're able to identify an issue, adapt to that issue, and then overcome that issue. We're going to redirect. We're going to redirect to everywhere we can to the available parking. Once the parking is saturated, and once we get to a point where we have to prioritize the movement of some of our traffic, and we have to prioritize the movement of other public safety vehicles such as fire trucks and rescue trucks, there will come a time when we will begin to facilitate the traffic plan where we move the traffic off Atlantic Avenue in key spots. But you know we do this every weekend during the summer. For those of you who live and work in and around the oceanfront, you know we will go, when it gets too heavy, to a traffic diversion plan. We know that. We've been doing it. And so we will have those traffic diversion plans in place during this particular weekend. It says to ease congestion. Here's my biggest piece on easing congestion. Get here early, understand we're gonna have congestion, and understand it's gonna be heavier maybe than normal, and plan accordingly for that. We have our Waze traffic app will be updated. We're gonna have pre-positioning of our emergency vehicles, and I want you to know that working with fire and EMS, as long as I have, they're second to no one on the entire East Coast. They know how to run a major event. They know how to plan for a major event. And our hat goes off to everything that they do. Remember, our fire entities are some of the best. We have our Virginia Task Force number 2 is right here out of Virginia Beach. They know how to work major events. EMS, the largest EMS entity, volunteer EMS system in the nation. And they know how to work during these large special events. They will pre-position assets to make sure that they can move up and down Atlantic, Pacific, Arctic Avenue, wherever we need to be in a moment's notice. 19th Street will get interesting because once we're done with the festival music, the event, a lot of folks will be coming back to this location for the after hours event. That means we're going to have a lot of pedestrian traffic on 19th Street working its way west. We have a plan for that. Finally, I want you to know that the Sheriff's Department and your state police are heavily involved in this weekend also. I want you to know that state police have stepped up every time we've asked them for resources, and so has Sheriff Stolle and the Sheriff's Department. So it's not just the police department. We have the lead, but we have assisting agencies. Okay, be patient. Number 2, refer to number 1, be patient. Number 3, you know, get my drift? Be patient. It's for those of us who have done this for decades, you understand that if we're not carpooling, if we're not using bikes, if you live in this particular area and want to get from point A to point B, vehicle might not be the best way to go. The second thing that I want to talk about with that is for those who work in the resort area, either carpool, use the shuttle system, or for the businesses, design your own shuttle system. Because I've been asked, well, what if someone has credentials and we have to do a diversion off Atlantic? Can they get to their place of business? Yes, if we can get you there. And there may be a point in time where we just can't guarantee that we're going to be able to move that many cars that quick. I know there's going to be some questions, and we'll take those later, so Councilman. Or maybe there won't be any questions for police.
Sure, there are tons of questions out there for communications. Next, we're going to have information sources before and during. We're going to bring up Julie here, our Virginia Beach Communications Director, and we're going to bring up Emily Octon again from BWG to talk about that. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. We are doing this as a team because this has been a really collaborative process between the festival and the city. And as we get closer and closer, we're about a little less than 3 weeks out now, so as we get closer and closer, we're looking at the city's role on traffic and helping our locals get around, but we're also a force multiplier for the information sources that the festival is putting out. So that's what we've really designed here as a 5-pronged program that looks at how we coordinate the information and the messaging between the festival and the city, and that we offer you and our visitors that combination of information that's available. The somethinginthewater.com website is the primary source, as will be the event app when that gets unveiled shortly. Two primary sources, so there'll be information where you can go to and pull information out yourself, but we'll also have information that we'll be pushing out. We'll show you a couple of examples of the things that we've been doing there. We want information that's available online, but not everybody's there, so we're offline as well. We want to make sure that we're just consistent, and then as Brian talked about, we've got staffing that will be available throughout that entire weekend. So we've got it covered from here to there. So you want to talk about any of the tactics that we've got, or? Sure. Go ahead.
As I mentioned earlier, our app does go live. We are pinged to go live on the 9th, which is tomorrow. All of our information main feeds is through our website. So as we have tried to push from the beginning, please utilize the website. As we do get closer to show and you start accessing the app more, we use live feeding and live updating through our app. This is anything from letting you know about activations that are going on at the time, push updates on traffic for the areas that are most affected at what times. If there is an emergency, we get an emergency message to our application. This crosses over to if it is an on-day need or request and you're within the festival footprint, we use our festival screens to push out information. But everything relates back essentially to the application and the website to begin with. Our social media links that connect to this hold the same information. So our Facebook, our Twitter, and our Instagram. We're also using Nextdoor for this show. What other partners do you want?
Oh, look, there's a whole other list there. So, meetings like this would be another example of the things that we've been doing, not only in the weeks prior, but today as well.
We have had a lot of these meetings. They've been thoroughly enjoyable. Today is our biggest one with you guys. From that, you should have received the postcard that went out last week for your initial information, round of information to everybody in the Virginia Beach postcode. We are using wayfinding signage all the way from the convention center footprint to the festival. So if you are looking for certain activation spaces, ways to get around the festival site, we have wayfinding signage, large scale on the side of this convention center all the way down the streets and into the festival footprint.
And then we've been supplementing with a lot of the information that we'll put out both in our newsletters, on our website. So there should be lots of different ways that you ought to be able to find the information. And ultimately, there in the postcard, if you're in this zip code, the 23451 zip code, and received the direct mail, you got the link to the residents at somethinginthewater.com email that you can direct questions to. But if you didn't get that, we've posted it on our website as well. So you don't only have to get that. We just wanted to really make sure that we were targeting the people who are most immediately impacted in this particular footprint. So those are the two email addresses for just general information. And then for residents specific, whether it's an access issue or a road inquiry that you have, those would be the two places that you could go for the information. So the next few slides are really just to show you some of the different ways that we've used the information. This actually is their website, and then the available app that's going to be coming tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. This is the direct mail out that went out. Our updates on our website are pushed out every Friday through our social media and our website. They range from information on the activations, the artists, new updates on traffic information, the different styles of food and beverage we're going to have at the show. So every Friday there is a large notification that goes out on all of our social media and press releases.
It's probably one of the best things that you can do. That would be something that once you sign up, it gets delivered to you, whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And on Nextdoor, we probably have some of the largest numbers of people in Virginia Beach per capita that belong to Nextdoor than any other city in the country. So we use that a lot. The last time I checked, which was a few weeks ago, we had over 103,000 households there. So it is a great tool for us. We can't see in, as you know, if you use Nextdoor, we can't go in, but we can at least post that information and you'll be able to ask us any questions that you have. There's probably the one major element to this program that we actually started through College Beach Weekend last year and the 4th of July, and that is partnering with Waze. And through Aaron Sutton's office and the Office of Emergency Management, they've solidified an agreement with Waze that actually will enable us to even deliver more real-time information directly to the app. We don't have to wait for anybody else to post it. So that is probably going to be the one terrific source, huge source. And it is crowdsourced. If you haven't used the Waze app, you can download that, and you will have all of your friends and neighbors telling you all the different places that they're stuck or where places will be available for parking or access. In addition to what Something in the Water is putting out, we actually are using it. We're either retweeting or posting on our own social media the information. So if you're not following it on Something in the Water, then you can follow it with us, and we'll be sharing that information to make sure we get as much reach as possible. These are a couple of examples of social posts that we'll be using as we get within the few days of the event. And it will be everything from see something, say something. I know that that's probably one of the most important things. It's a national campaign. We use it at every event. We want to make sure that we're using it here, and have talked with the event, with the festival organizers about being able to have that kind of reporting feature actually through the event app. So you don't have to leave it, you can report right there. There's always 911 and 311 available for us, but see something, say something is going to be really an important thing, not only for our residents, you know what's out of place and what's not, but for our visitors as well to have that. And then we know traffic's going to be bad, so we'll just make sure that a few days ahead we're reminding people that they'll be able to plan for that. And Emily will be available for questions, but we'll let you introduce the Independent Observer Program.
Thank you, ladies. Next, we'll have Human Rights Commission observer from their program. Sylvia Neri Strickland is the HRC chair, as well as Lieutenant Scott Wishendahl of our VBPD. Thank you.
Hi, you look very serious. My name is Sylvia Neri Strickland. I'm chair of the Human Rights Commission. The Human Rights Commission was officially formed in 1991. Through the years, the HRC has maintained an open and transparent relationship with the police department, and we began a hands-on approach to help monitor the oceanfront activities, especially on holidays and other heavily attended events. The strategy is, and has been, to identify small issues that can potentially become major problems. Last year, the Virginia Beach Police Department, they asked us to expand our observer program to include citizens, and that became the Independent Observers Program. Last year, it was very, very effective, and we got numerous feedbacks that helped us to tell us what we're doing in the right way and to help us improve on what we can do better. So we have 84 slots this year for independent observers, and I'll leave all of that to the lieutenant to follow up on. But we're very excited that citizens want to participate, and we're very excited to work with the Virginia PD. And I know you have a lot of angst, but I have been doing this since 1992, and I can tell you that I have complete faith and trust that the VBPD actually can handle this. And Lieutenant?
Thank you, Sylvia. The purpose of the Independent Observer Program is to provide valuable input to the city, not just the police department, but the entire municipal government that's planning the event. and it helps us make decisions and make improvements for years to come, or even at the time that the event is going on during the night. If an observer makes an observation that is relative and we need to change it right away in that aspect. The other thing is we also evaluate all of the information that's compiled at the end through a survey process to help us plan the events for not only this event next year, but other events we have at the Oceanfront and throughout the city. The expectations we have of the observers that we're looking for, if you're looking for people that were willing to volunteer, is we want them to be friendly, we want them to be open and observe city services, how city services are being provided, and how we can improve those services that are being provided. If they see something, we want them to say something. If it's suspicious, we want them to approach a police officer. If it's something that can be improved upon and needs to be improved upon, as simple as better signage for restrooms is one example of that has helped us in the past, that observers made the observation being down there from a different perspective than some municipal workers are, including police officers down there. One thing we would ask of the observers is not to interfere with police operations. If you see something that concerns you that a police officer is doing, we'd ask that you speak to a supervisor if you can identify one, or ask for a police officer to get you a police supervisor, and they'd be more than happy to talk to you as an observer to hear your observations and your concerns at that time. What we will provide is the city will provide for the observers, will provide satellite parking that's separate from the satellite parking that the event organizer is providing for the participants. We'll provide a shuttle to and from that satellite parking. And we'll also provide respite locations that night so you can, as you're doing it, the shift, which is 3 hours long, we'll provide restrooms as well as snacks and water so you can keep hydrated, so you can still make your observations and be comfortable throughout the night. Comes down to the fact is that we need you. We need help from independent citizens to help us with this program so we can make the observations and we can get some impartial input from people and help us with, again, as I said, not the planning just only for this event, but for all of our city events that we have, special events and all different events that we do, that we provide services for and can help us improve the services we're giving to you. How can you get involved? The first thing is there's a limited number of slots. I want to make sure you're aware of that. As Sylvia said, we have 84 slots. We've got over 400 people here now. So just be aware that there's a limited number of slots. So we'd ask if you're interested in it that you sign up early. You can join us after this meeting. We're going to be meeting outside the ballroom here to the left, towards the glass. We'll be meeting there with anybody that's interested. We'll have some handouts for you. We'll answer some questions on the program and go over some specific details if you're interested. You can also, if you've got an iPhone, you can hit this QR code right now, and it should take you to the website that does not show up very well. But if you hit the QR code, that'll take you right straight to the website, or you can come to the meeting outside. And we'll give you the information that you need. Thank you.
Now, the moment you all been waiting for, all right? Your questions. We're going to allow our panelists to come up. And while they're coming up, I'm just going to make a brief statement before we get to your questions. And understanding that this community meeting tonight and this panel are here tonight to provide you more information and to alleviate some of the concerns that you may have throughout this festival weekend. But hear me and hear me clearly. We will not let the fear of our past stagnate the growth of our future. With that being said, I want to toss our first question to our esteemed Chief Severa. How will Burtnett Road North be affected? How will Burtnett Road North be affected? Yeah, it's, I'm 6'4", so the mic is kind of out here.
Burtnett Road is going to be heavily traveled. Think about this, especially when 264 begins to really get inundated. Folks will get off at either First Colonial or they get off at Bird Neck. If you get off at Bird Neck, you're going to sit for a while. A lot of folks will get off at First Colonial. They'll make their way down the boulevard. They're going to hit Bird Neck. We know that Bird Neck is that north-south, and we know it's going to take you down to General Booth, and it'll take you over to the parking area. So Bird Neck is going to be heavily used. We'll have officers to assist, but just plan for the fact that Bird Neck is going to be heavily used.
And keep in mind, we have a lot of questions up here. We're going to try to get to as many questions as we can. If we do not answer your question, as your city councilman and at large, I'm always available. So send those directly to me. I think, Aaron, we may have some more postcards, some more cards over there as well. So if you want to pass those out, we'll collect those in a minute. This question here is for Brian Solis. And let me tell you, Brian has been working around the clock to get everything coordinated. He's worked very closely with BWG and the promoters here. And I just want to take my hat off to Brian because behind the scenes, this man has put in hundreds and hundreds of hours to ensure this. So thank you, Brian. Now here's a question, and I'm sure a lot of our residents would like to know, are there any vending opportunities for local residents?
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for your comments. There's been a lot of folks working hard, particularly in our public safety and public works departments. I'd like to thank them for their efforts. All the vendors that are serving the festival are actually vetted by the festival itself. I believe we kind of have a cross-section of local vendors as well as national vendors, if you will, that are serving the festival. And I know that there were a lot of applications to call through, and I believe Emily went through them all, or folks associated with her. So I don't know, Emily, if you want to chime in on that piece.
Brian is correct. We had a huge influx of vendors, so I do thank you, and we appreciate everyone's request to be involved in our first year. Obviously, it is a first year, and we are on a timeline. Vendor applications have closed, and we will reach out to everyone that is not involved for this year in the hope that we can involve you in 2020. We are utilizing the markets on between 18th and 19th, Mediterranean and Cyprus, thank you. We are doing a vendor market to work with you and the local vendors as much as we can, and then our DLS partners, who are our food and beverage partners, are working with the local restaurants and vendors who applied through our website. We have 76 altogether on the festival site. But as for 2019, the website address is now closed until 2020.
This next question is for Rory Parsons, our festival coordinator. Rory, will shuttle buses be only available to concert ticket holders?
I'm glad you asked. No, they will not only be available to festival ticket holders. So you guys, if you'd like to take advantage of that service, we'd encourage that.
Awesome. Like that. And here's to Chief Severa again. Can I rent out my off-street parking space?
No.
Okay. Here's for all our local fishermen here. Brian, will the marina at Rudy Inlet be open?
So I'm a fisherman and a surfer and love the beach in general, and for the first time, you know, the Rudy Loop area that I'm aware of for a special event, because of the number of artists and all of the supporting infrastructure that's needed to support a much larger stage than we're used to having there at 5th Street. Rudy Loop will be closed, I believe, from at least Thursday early through Monday of the event. The marina, though, will be open. So we are I'm not going to say it's not going to be affected by traffic, but the marina and all the businesses will be open. In fact, there will be a sign that says Winston-Salem Avenue business is open. There's a wedding with a rehearsal dinner on Friday night with a wedding. Is that you? Mr. Williams will be providing free music for you, ma'am, and I hope you enjoy it. But seriously, we're very cognizant of that. Your wedding coordinator at Water Table has been reaching out on your behalf, and we appreciate that. And I believe the lady's name is Jess Cortez, that is with the Something in the Water Festival staff, can work one-on-one with you to show you how you and folks in your wedding party and your guests can get there. You do need a plan for additional traffic. But the short answer to the question is the marina and all the businesses on Winston-Salem Avenue will be open. I just want to take that opportunity to talk about, yes, from the jetty to 10th Street, Grumman Island Park will have a pause and access for a few days.
Great. This question is for Rory, and I'm sure the chief can chime in if you like. Are the locals going to be able to have access to the beach at all if you are not attending the event?
So the perimeter of our event footprint, unfortunately, will be closed during the build and the actual show days themselves, and obviously the tear down as well. However, the limit of that is not going to extend too much further than 10th Street. So the beach north of 10th Street, besides what we have going on for the Adidas activation, is going to be open still.
Okay. Question for myself here. Let's see. Have we taken the opportunity to contact the governor to be able to use Camp Pendleton for parking? We've actually reached out to Camp Pendleton, but they actually have own functions of their own and only will have provided limited space for parking. So we have tried that avenue. We have a contingency plans in place from Dam Neck to the amphitheater in case the weather does not permit us to use those grounds. So thank you. Next question here for Chief Cervera. My kids are attending the event. My concern is safety. Please help me feel as a parent to feel reassured that my kids are safe.
Thank you for that question. I was hoping we were going to get to the safety and security part of this dynamic festival. How do I explain this? We've done major festivals for the 40 years that I've been here. We know how to do major festivals. We have a safety and security plan for what we're calling the venue. That's where your major entertainment will take place, as well as for all of the other sites, i.e. the pop-up church, the basketball, 19th and Pacific. We will have safety and security. We're working with private security. Again, we work with state police. We work with the sheriff's department to ensure safety and security. We also have the safety plan for the rest of the Oceanfront and the rest of the beach borough. And oh yeah, we have a safety plan for the other 475,000 citizens in our city. So our police department is completely mobilized. We will work 10 to 12-hour shifts. We also have a safety plan with, again, I talked about EMS earlier. They will be pre-positioned in places to make sure we could get the right medical attention to folks when they need it, not only in the venue site, but throughout the entire beach borough. And the fire department will pre-position particular assets. We want to make sure if you have that kind of a need, if God forbid you need a fire truck or you need that ambulance, we're going to get it to you as quick as we can. We have an integrated emergency response system. We've practiced this for a number of years. We're pretty good at it. Now, can I guarantee nothing is going to happen anywhere in the entire city of Virginia Beach? I wish I could, but you know, that's way above my pay grade. Stuff may happen, but we're able to respond to things as quick as we can. We will secure what we can initially and control what we can initially, and we have response plans for those other issues that may take place. The other thing you have to remember is every plan is great. I think Mike Tyson said he had a great fight plan until he got punched the first time. Well, we understand that. We have some tremendous plans in place, but we also know that there's the key to it. Identify the problem that's emerging, adapt to that problem, and then overcome it. So we're very flexible in exactly what we do. So whomever asked that question about your kids, we're going to do everything we can to make sure your children are safe, make sure all the festival goers are safe, the citizens in the beach are safe, and oh yeah, I got to make sure my cops are safe also. So we have those plans in place.
And just to piggyback off of that as well, you talk about the investment part that Pharrell Williams and his production companies bring to our community. The festival in itself has hired over 187 private security firms that will be making sure that all the venues in the surrounding area is safe. So on top of our esteemed colleagues here. Okay, great. I know you all have visited here tonight and you see the construction going down on 19th Street. And so one of the concerns that we have in this question from Brian, what are we doing to make sure that those work sites are safe for our visitors coming to our city?
So thank you for the question, Councilman Rouse. And just to piggyback on the Chief's answer earlier in terms of kids attending the festival, just want to let you know, I want to give a plug to Hampton Roads Transit that's here, that they are starting their trolley service a full week earlier. We have Commissioner Knoyton here as well from the Peninsula for HRT. There's going to be a T that the trolley is going to serve in terms of a continuous loop. And for the first time, in addition to serving Atlantic Avenue and Pacific Avenue from 25th Street on down to Atlantic Avenue at 41st Street and then back over, it's going to go west at 17th Street, cut across Jefferson Avenue, which is the road that is in the middle of the convention center, and then serve in front of the convention center. It's going to turn left on Parks Avenue and down 21st Street and start that T all over again. And something that the commission approved 18 months ago or 2 years ago is that all children younger than 18 ride for free. It's called the Student Freedom Pass. So there'll be a way for them to get around on the trolleys as an option if they like, and especially with the pay and adult or even without one, they'll be able to use that service. About 19th Street, I'd like to thank our public works staff and police. We are planning on closing that to pedestrians, but also having access for residents and businesses that are located there. But it'll be primarily a pedestrian thoroughfare. The city manager sent out a memo last week advising all public works and public utilities capital improvement program projects to button up no later than noon on the 25th. And that means closing to the extent possible and as safe as possible all open holes, even if it's temporary paving or with covers, and that also includes moving any heavy equipment that's been staged out of pedestrian and motor vehicle pathways, and then they're free to open back up once loadout begins at noon on Monday. So there was a directive from the city manager to taper those projects down or pause them, and we do feel for them because this is the time frame where usually the small time frame they're able to get capital projects and infrastructure done. And by this time next year, I believe, or shortly after that, 19th Street will have all the utilities underground, will be more of a pedestrian plaza, thoroughfare, on-street parking, and so these are just growing pains. And as the sports center comes online, you're going to have more and more of these shoulder season type of activities, and we're going to need to adapt to working within and being within construction within that shoulder season and partnering with these large-scale events that are going to occur at the sports center and as we become more of a year-round destination. So the directive's gone out to button up those projects as best we can, and that includes moving any heavy equipment as well.
All right, our next question will...
Councilman, beg your pardon. So we are looking at providing supplemental lighting, thank you, Chief, within that corridor that, especially at night, folks coming from the main venue area to and from the convention center, because the convention center is going to have a robust program of activities and everything from technology pitches for entrepreneurs to religious talks to some leaders in the industry in fashion design and innovation, and we want to make them accessible also to the Market, even though that's there during the day. So there'll be some supplemental lighting on 19th Street as well.
Next question is for Emily, and I'm sure we are so lucky and fortunate to have one of our own retired captain, Mike Ronan, who provide decades of years experience throughout our community, help the promoters out when it comes to making sure that our city and this festival is safe. So if we can give him a round of applause as well. Can Emily and Captain Ronan, can you speak to the metal detectors as far as entering the venues, as well as can you bring chairs, bottled waters, and backpacks, and can you get autographs and pictures with celebrities? So the people want to know.
I can speak to all of those things. 35,000 people is a lot of people to move through a front entrance. We do a process of mag and bag, is what we call it in the festival world. So you will come through a soft wristband check at the front entrance, which is a secured fence line, 350 feet from our actual entrance. So no wristband, no entrance in the soft check. Once you come through, we have 35 magnometer scanners, so it's 1,000 people per line. Separate lines for VIP, separate lines for ADA. You will be mag scanned. Everyone will have their bags checked. Once you go through the mag scan and the bag check and through security, drops down to the ticket line, and your RFID scanner will scan on the ticket line, and then in you go to the festival.
Just point of clarification, mag scan. You say mag scan, it's like the wand, right?
Nope.
What is that like? Can you explain that to the people?
Do you want me to stand up and show you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Show me exactly. There you go. All right.
It's a metal detection scanner like the one at the airports.
Okay. So I wasn't too sure myself of a mag scan, so I'm sure we had some questions out there. And as well.
Also, the primary focus during this weekend has been safety and security. We want nothing better than everybody to have a great time, spend all your money, and then leave at the end of the weekend. All the prohibited items will be on the website. Again, we want people to know what they can bring in, but we want ultimately safety and security for everybody attending these concerts, the activations, and so on. So, thank you.
Next question is for Brian, and I'm going to kind of intro to this. Did the school board vote on approve of use of school buses? The school board actually votes tomorrow for that, but school buses are a city asset to our cities. It's not the first time the city has used school buses for festival events, but I think one of the most important facts to understand is that this festival is actually paying for the use of those school buses, not your tax dollars. They're actually paying for the use of that, and as well as for our, that's something to applaud, but as well as for our bus drivers. They will have an opportunity to make time and a half that weekend, which is great. There will approximately be 70 bus drivers, and all the services were volunteered, and there was a list of over 400 bus drivers who volunteered for that particular weekend. So I don't know if, Brian, you want to add?
No, sir, you covered it very well.
Anything else?
Thank you.
As well. Let's see. Okay. I'm sorry, some of y'all handwriting are like doctors, and it's kind of hard to reading. Access to I-264 Friday, Saturday. Can you talk about the access to I-264 that weekend? And I believe the chief can speak to that, when and the time that you may possibly have to shut down the interstate.
An interesting fact, local police cannot shut down. We always say, when are you going to shut down 264? We cannot. That's an interstate highway. What we do is divert traffic back from eastbound 264. You know how that drill goes. Then we turn you north on Parks, and we turn you west again back on 264. When is that going to happen? Two things I like to tell everybody. It depends. Again, it depends on what happens with the rest of the beach borough. We have, I believe, 3,500 parking spaces in the beach borough once they're taken, and traffic begins to get inundated in the entire area. And as I said earlier, if we get to a situation where we can't move fire trucks, if we can't move rescue vehicles or police cars, or get citizens out of their homes, that is when we go to the diversion off of 264. What time will that happen? I can't pick a time right now. I know it's going to be early. I know it's going to be early like it is on 4th of July. And on last year's College Beach weekend, we did do the diversion very early. I'm expecting it to happen early again, sir. If we come up with a specific time, we're going to have to get a little bit of work with VDOT, but we'll get that word out. But just count on it happening early evening, late afternoon.
And also remember, the Waze partnership will actually let you know way in advance when the interstates be shut down. So please download that app as well. We're pretty much on the cutting edge of that technology, as being one of the first and few cities to actually partner with the app to let you know that the surrounding area will be congested. Brian, who will be cleaning up when this party, when this great festival and diversity and inclusion is over with? Who will be cleaning up?
So her name is Emily Ockenden, and she's about 3 seats down from me. I'm just kidding. But there's been some outreach actually from the community on that piece. Ultimately, though, anything within the festival footprint is the festival's responsibility. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we're partnering. We've had a lot of face-to-face time with them, and I'd like to thank our Public Works Department on how that process would occur, who would be responsible for what. So, and Emily, I don't know if you have anything to add in terms of how that process works.
I would also like to give my thanks to Public Works. You guys have been incredible to work with. We are working with a private cleaning company who have a very large staff team starting on board with us on the 17th. To facilitate all cleaning requirements, we have partnerships with Waste Management and TFC for both recycling and dumpster hauling. And then post-show, we will have a beach cleanup initiative to give back to the community. I won't give away all the details just yet, as there is some fun involved in that, but we always look to leave a site the way that we started there. And we try not to leave anything behind. So we spend a lot of time and detail in our cleaning processes, and I think we have this one dialed.
I believe Chief Severe has some comments on the independent observers.
Yes, thank you, sir. I really want to accentuate the importance of that particular program for the Virginia Beach Police Department. I think we're one of the few police agencies that I know of that ask citizens to come out and observe how we're doing. Tell us how we're doing. So we can give a better service to our citizens and to make sure that the officers are interacting in an appropriate way. This idea really took off the last couple of years when we had some of our College Beach weekends and things happened. And what the feedback that we had gotten from a lot of our citizens was after a certain act of violence happened, everybody was running away. The cops ran to that act of violence, and the cops never asked whether the gender, they never asked the race, the religion, or anything of the individual who was injured. They just gave the assistance that they needed, and then they found the perpetrator and hopefully made the arrest. The second thing about the importance of that, Mr. Andrew Jackson is sitting right in front of me. Mr. Jackson is a member of some very large community groups, and he's never once hesitated to tell me something. And sometimes when he tells me, it might not be the best news that I want to hear, but the importance of that is because of that interaction, because of that open communication, we're able to solve a problem in a small sense before it becomes a large issue like you see some areas around the country. I cannot really tell you how important this independent observer program is, the Human Rights Commission is, for the Virginia Beach Police Department. So I wanted to really accentuate that and hope to get some feedback from folks.
This question is for Brian and maybe Emily, our logistics person here. Can you talk about the residents who live primarily the Bergen and the Oceanfront area? How will they be able to get in and out of their homes and their communities safely? And so can you speak to that?
I'll start. It really kind of depends on where you live. So if you're going to take a trip, whether it be to the grocery store or wherever, that's relatively local, I'd go early in the morning and come back early in the morning. Otherwise, coming out soon will be kind of the lineup for all the artists in the main stage area, which will be the busiest activity at the Oceanfront, between 5th and 10th Street. And you might be able to try to gauge between set changes and genre changes of the lineup, maybe when some of those holes may be. But for the most part, if you are a local, you will be able to get home. The difference between you and a visitor that's traveling from out of the area, whether it be from Chesapeake or from Richmond, is that you have somewhere to park. And eventually you are going to be able to get to your home. But it's going to take a while, and you're going to need to plan for it. So it really, really depends. If you are a resident on Atlantic Avenue from 10th Street South, you will likely be credentialed to be able to get through that area that will be closed for motor vehicle traffic. A lot of the other streets in the Oceanfront, you might have what's called soft closures, which means there's kind of barricades that say no through traffic, residents only, and you'll be able to get home that way. Again, the difference between you and somebody else driving around looking for parking is that you have somewhere to park. Man. So it really depends on where you are.
I think what we need to keep in mind is that here again we're expecting a large influx of visitors to our community, and there will be inconvenience. We don't like to be inconvenienced. It's just the nature of having a festival like this. Keep in mind, this is only a 3-day event. You will be able to get in and out your house, but patience was that key word that Chief talked about as well. And I can tell you, all officers will be on deck. I know they have actually had training to kind of get those residents in and out of their home as quickly as they can. But again, we just ask if you have patience, and let's show our visitors what Virginia Beach is all about, because the whole world, the entire world, eye will be on our community, and we want to put out a positive reputation that says we are open to diversity, inclusion, and open for business. So let's keep that in mind. Next question will be Brian. I think we kind of signal out the young lady. Congratulations, getting married again. But I believe this is her question. My wedding is that weekend at Mocha. What am I to tell my guests? And so I know you have worked with them individually to kind of make sure we can help them out there.
So first of all, I've been kind of coached by our city manager's office that a storm is approaching. The warning came out, and we'll have kind of 30 minutes to exit the building. Something to consider. But we're available for questions. I know I'll be sticking around, but just some advice I received most recently. A wedding at Mocha, is that what the council?
Yeah.
Again, if you're here, please reach out to us, and we can put you in contact with Jess Cortez with the festival that will be coordinating, trying best to accommodate them. That might be Burnett
Road,
Road,
okay.
25th Street.
Yeah. Okay, well, I understand about early departure. We only have 5 minutes left.
Was it something I said?
Brian's tactics.
The last question, I guess I'll give this question as last question. And keep in mind, I do have a lot of questions up here that we aren't having to answer or ask tonight, but I will try my best. I know our staff will try our best to get you the answers that you are seeking. Remember, my email is arouse@vbgov.com. So if your question didn't get answered tonight, I will try personally to get back to you as soon as I can. Question for Brian, I believe this is best for Emily. What is the inclement weather plan?
So, in Mike Easton's office of special events and film permitting, one of the requirements for any special events is an inclement weather matrix. It's pretty detailed. I could just offer that. It's a matrix that says basically for the different incident what the protocol is in terms of evacuation and at what time. And however, this is a rain or shine show. One thing that may hinder that would be an electrical storm, for example, and maybe high wind. But it's very detailed. This inclement weather matrix, it's available if anybody wants to look at it. It's kind of too much to go over here, but again, it starts with what the incident is, and then there's a response sequence of events that goes from there. And Emily, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Access to hotels for guests who are not attending the festival. I believe if you have a hotel room key, that they are giving away parking permits for access to their parking to their hotel. So if you are coming down that weekend for a wedding, so to speak, the hotel will provide you with access and parking as well. I think it's just going to have patience to get into your hotel.
So if I could, Emily, I don't mean to put you all on the spot, but when do y'all think that might occur in terms of guests' credentials and that type of thing?
Credentialing will go out during the week of show being the 22nd. The reasoning for that is we can't have credentials copied. It is for a safety security purpose, so all information will go out to you, but we don't want your guests to not be able to access your hotels or you as residents to not be able to access your houses because they've received the information that you're receiving and they've counterfeited it, and now we have an influx of too many people with the passes that are for you. So the map and information will go out next week, but your actual credentials and passes will be the week of show to try and alleviate the sort of pass copying that people have seen on other shows.
Again, it's about 8 o'clock. I'd like to personally thank all of you all for coming out tonight and voicing your concerns and for your questions. We will try to get to your questions. I want to thank our panels, our first responders, our promoter for being here tonight, and our city staff. We are really working hard to ensure that this is a safe event. It's fun, it's a learning experience, and it's one that will take Virginia Beach to the next generation for year on to come. So thank you again for coming tonight. Please get home safe.